Hello, everyone. Welcome to Something to Talk About Live. My name is Liz Owen. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the Director of Communications at pflagnation.al. It's great to have you with us for another episode of our show. It is our end of year show. So glad to be with you before we ring out 2022 and ring in 2023. So let me not waste any time. I'll bring on our host, Jean Marie Nevada.
Liz Owen!
Jean Marie Nevada!
It's the last time we get to spend together this year.
I know. It's bittersweet.
On Thursdays at 1:30, I'm going to longingly stare at my computer and miss you.
I will be longingly staring at my computer and working and thinking about how lucky you are not to be in front of your computer.
By the way, loving your Christmas tree, Liz.
Thank you so much. It's my children made it a few years ago, and there's another one over there, which is not facing the camera, but it's also in the background, also made by my children, who are 17 and not 4.
I was going to say, I know your kids, and they're not little kids anymore.
They are not, which is why it looks pretty decent, actually.
Well, we are going to have you back because we're having kind of a fun conversation today. So I'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Enjoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Something to Talk About Live. Last show of 2022. My name is Jean Marie Nevada. My pronouns are she and her, or ella, if you use Spanish. And every single week we get together to talk about something related to LGBTQ inclusion. And this week, our final show of the year, we are talking about how 2022 was pretty rough. So let's queer the holidays. For those of you who like reading our article of the week, the one that we grabbed this week was from Pride Source from Sarah Bricker Hunt, and it was called Queer Holiday Cheer is Here, Be Merry and Gay with Dolly, Mariah Miley, Amy Grant, and more. It has some great lists of suggestions for people of what to check out this holiday. I'm particularly excited that it included both Debbie Gibson and the Backstreet Boys, tapping into all of my immature music loves. But we thought it would be really fun to bring the PFLAG team together, or at least those of us who were available at this time, to talk about what we loved about this year, what we didn't love so much, and what we're really looking forward to next year. So I am really, really excited and really happy to get to introduce to you my friends and colleagues, the people I spend every single day with, pretty much, the PFLAG national team. And we're actually going to begin the conversation with PFLAG's Executive Director, Brian Bond.
Hey, Jean Marie.
Hello, Brian.
How are you?
I'm very excited. I've got my holiday sequins on. I have my tiny tree up behind me. I have Cookie Monster going on. I'm all set.
I wore, all I could pull out was the red bow tie. So that's
it's very festive, but we all are a little sad that Windsor is not appearing with you today.
Windsor will be making appearances at some point on social only.
We are super excited about talking about the past year and looking forward. So I have the 4 questions that we're asking of everybody this week, which is, what was your best LGBTQ and ally thing of 2022?
Sure. First, I just want to thank everybody out there, all the PFLAGers, for everything they've done this year. It's been it would be an understatement to say this has been an intense year for all of us. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to work with you all, to work with an incredible board, the RDC, and an amazing staff. And I do hope everybody's getting a little bit of rest and a little bit of joy, because next year is going to be really big and more intense, probably, candidly, than this year. But we'll get through it. We'll do it. That's what we do. That's exactly what we do and what we're made for. So for me, the best LGBTQ plus ally thing of the year, there's so many, just based on what I was just saying. But I think the thing that strikes me the most, that I just can't get out of my head, and I posted a lot about it, is the grandma that I met at the Phoenix airport, randomly sat by me, 80 some years old. We started talking. She didn't know what I did for a living. And all of a sudden she started talking about wanting to support her trans granddaughter. And I'm like, whoa, okay, we need to have a conversation here. And then it turns out she started in her seniors complex in Pennsylvania a support group for grandparents with queer grandkids. And so, I mean, it was just like this thing that was meant to happen. And we right away got her all kinds of materials, our grandparents' material, some of our other materials. And that's been like 2.5 months ago, maybe. I still get emails from her asking for more materials, which she by herself single-handedly may take on in the state of Pennsylvania. But that's just one example of what's going on out there, everyday individuals who it's all about love for them and doing the hard work, even when it's really hard. And she didn't know anybody was watching or paying attention. And she just did it because she cared. And that's what everybody that's listening today does. So I'm just grateful.
I love that story. And it really is one of those best stories of those allies, finding allies everywhere that you go. On the flip side of that, Brian, what was your least favorite thing about 2022 when it came to LGBTQ and ally stuff?
That's really hard. And I thought about this for a while, and I don't know any other way to say it. And it really, for me, and this is the only negative, and I'm not a negative person. I really am not. I look at the glass half full. There are so many people out there that know better and choose to stay on the sidelines. We need them now more than ever. And not just our community. This is across the board of knowing what's right. And I know it's hard to use voices sometimes. We talk with our pflaggers about that every day, but there's people in multiple spaces that know that they can make a difference. And I'm hoping in 2023, they join with so many others and say, now's my time. Now I'm going to stand up, because there's a country here. There are people here all over this, kids in this country that need them desperately.
Yeah, because silent allies are not allies. They're just silent. Okay, so 2 more questions. The first one is, what tradition are you most looking forward to this holiday season?
It's all about, for those of you who follow me, it's all about Windsor. It's all about his costumes. He's had a bad year himself, so we're probably going to take it a little easy on him this year. But there's 3 or 4 or 5, 10, 12 costumes that will be rolled out. Just for this, because he loves to celebrate it.
Of course he loves to celebrate. Yeah. I love how the range was between maybe 3 and 12.
Well, it depends on his mood.
Of course it does. And quickly, one resolution for 2023.
I know this sounds corny because I obviously work at PFLAG and I care a lot about everybody that's listening, everybody that's part of our network, our staff and our board and RDC and all those who come to us. But I really, I don't believe in resolutions because I always never do them well. So I try to set goals. And one of my goals is honestly just to bring my best self to this next year. We've got so much going on. And I can only, I'm human like everybody else, and I make lots of mistakes, but all I can do is continue to try to bring my best self to this organization, to my peers, my colleagues, and just do the best I can to help be a part of the team and make a difference.
I love that. Well, Brian, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes together. We're looking forward to seeing the Windsor pictures online, and I will see you in the new year.
Bye. Thank you.
Next up, we are actually going to bring in some people from our communications team. So I think we're getting Liz back along with Jackson.
Assuming I'm not fired for cutting my boss off.
Way to go on cutting off our boss.
I should have a job for the next 24 minutes, hopefully.
Can we fix this in editing? My friends, we are looking for your answers to the questions. So I'll go, we could both do them. Best LGBTQ and ally thing of the year. Jackson, you go first.
The outpouring of amazing TV and movie centered around queer and LGBTQ folks. I'm thinking Heartstopper and Fire Island, total faves.
Totally love that. Hey, Liz Owen, what do you think?
There are so many ways that I think parents are showing up in really new and unique and important ways. My favorite one actually just happened this past week. It was the parent who's a chef who owns a restaurant, who has a trans kid, who said goodbye to their old restaurant and renamed it because it had been named for their child. And now it is still named for their child. I just thought that was freaking awesome.
What a great story. Okay, then we have to do the flip side. What is your least favorite thing of 2022, Jackson?
As a Coloradoan, I have to say Club Q.
Yeah, that was definitely a big least favorite. Liz?
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, how do I pick just one horrible thing? As a comms person who lives on social media, I have to say the things that we are seeing across the social media space the horrible narratives that are causing real world harm. We're really seeing a huge influx of it, especially on Twitter, but we're also seeing it on other platforms. It's horrible, it's damaging, and it's causing real world harm and violence to people we all love and care about. And to Brian's point, people know better and they need to do better.
That's the frustrating thing. All right. Fast rounds. 2 more questions. First one is, what tradition are you most looking forward to, Jackson?
Food.
Just food.
That was perfect. That was the best answer ever. Liz?
I am looking forward to getting on the road with my kids. Throughout quarantine, we've taken these super long, day-long road trips. And I had surgery. I wasn't able to drive for a number of months, but we are going to take our first one around Christmas, throw the dog and the kids in the car, and just drive.
I love that. And my last question for both of you, what is your resolution for 2022?
I'm going to spend more time on hobbies and not in front of a screen when I can.
That is ambitious. That is seriously ambitious. Liz?
I'm working on patience this year. There's a lot with which we need to be patient. Many people with whom we need to be patient. I need to have better patience with myself. And it is the thing that I'm historically worst at. So it's not a resolution, it's a goal. And hopefully I will set it and meet it.
I like that you've identified your historical worst.
It's a time for best and worst, is it not?
It is. Well, thank you, my friends. I appreciate your input. I hope you get everything that you're hoping for. And let's go to our next round of people.
Thank you.
This is my awkward silence while I wait for the next round of guests. Oh, and there they are. Hello, Patrick. And where's Diego? There's Diego. Hello, my friends from Policy and Advocacy. I'm excited to have you here. I want to do the fast round with you. Patrick, we'll start with you. Favorite LGBTQ and ally thing of the year?
So we had such amazing parents go up to bat for their kids in Ohio, and we killed 2 anti-trans bills this year. That was such a highlight. Loved it. Could not speak more highly of our PFLAG parents in Ohio.
Perfect. Diego?
My best ally thing was Speaker Pelosi and President Biden on the White House South Lawn, sealing Senators Baldwin and Collins and Chairs Nadler and Cicilline's bipartisan respect for marriage law, clearing the way for the Equality Act action.
I love that. I also love the specificity that I'm getting from the both of you. On the other side, what is the least favorite thing, Patrick?
Well, I think November, the elections turned out very, very interestingly. And unfortunately, there were some not allies who won big. I'm trying to choose my words very carefully. And I don't love that. And I hope that they do not take their wins to mean they should continue to be horrible and not allies.
Agree. Diego?
People who are and back up bullies with silence. Any ally not heeding the calls to action from pflag.org/advocacy.
I like that. I think that was very directive. And I hope a lot of people are like, I need to go to that link right now and get myself signed up. I saw what you were doing there. Patrick, what's one holiday tradition you are most looking forward to?
Well, my grandma was always such a big part of Christmas, and she passed away, unfortunately, last year. But one way that we are going to make sure that she, stays in things, she made this sauerbraten every year. It's like a German pot roast. So I'll be looking very much forward to cooking that. So tasty.
Feel free to invite me over. Diego.
Das ist schön, Patrick. I think hunting for decorations and lights in and around the neighborhood and around the cities.
I love that. I totally love that. All right, last question, gentlemen. What is one of your resolutions for 2023?
I think it's very important, and I'm going to try to do this, to look for the good things, look for the hope, look for, try to really, really find what's positive, because I think it's so easy to focus on the negative. And I do this a lot too, but we've got really great things out there that are happening too. And if we don't recognize that, everything just seems so bleak. So I'm definitely going to try to do that.
Agree. Diego, you get the last word on this one.
Thanks. I want to lead with love and always be mindfully kind.
I really like that. And I think that's probably a good resolution for all of us. Thank you both. Thank you both for keeping our advocacy moving and for everything that you teach everyone. And I am looking forward to working with you both more in the new year.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep the conversation going. Kevin, representing our operations department. So it is so good to have you here for the first time.
Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it. This is exciting.
I know it kind of is. Also, the joy of live broadcasts always makes things just a little unpredictable.
I love it. I love it. Stay on your toes. Keep us on our toes.
So tell me, what was your best LGBTQ ally thing of the year?
I'm going to have to echo Diego's comments on the Respect for Marriage Act. I think that's a huge step in the right direction. I think on the very subtle, I want to add Lil Nas X winning a couple of awards this year as well also should be highlighted.
Totally agree on that one. What about the worst one?
I think with Jackson, I think the shooting, I think a lot of the legislation that's coming out on the state level is really disheartening to see it, especially as it pertains to young children and kids. So I definitely think that's been a really disappointing aspect of this year.
I completely agree with you. All right, something positive. Holiday tradition that you are most looking forward to.
This is going to sound ironic. So my birthday is on the 30th. So usually that means, your gifts are Christmas and birthday. They're not really separate. So the tradition I'm looking forward to is my gifts being lumped up together again and just being like, it's just one long celebration between Christmas and New Year's is one big party.
I like that you've turned it positive.
Indeed.
And finally, one resolution for next year.
This is the good one. Assume positive intent. So I think it's like everyone else is being very open-minded and just giving everyone and ourselves a lot of grace. We've gone through a lot in 2 years. So looking forward to a new and adventurous things happening in 2023.
I totally agree with you. And I think that's another really good one to focus on. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you got to join us because operations is so often behind the scenes. So thanks for finding the time for us.
No worries. Thank you.
And it's the development team.
Hi, Jean Marie.
Oh, see, I think you're both going to get the awards for the most festive on this one. You have clearly put the most effort into it, including your placement. My God, Maggie, you've got the costume going. David, you have the yeah, you've shamed the rest of us. All right. I get it.
We bring it.
You see my tiny one behind me? It's like, so let's talk about it. Somebody in our chat just said this is commitment. Maggie, what is your best LGBTQ or ally thing of the year?
I have to say it's the PFLAG Gives Thanks event that we had in New York, hosted by KPMG. I loved seeing our corporate partners after so many years. It was our first in-person event at PFLAG. Just so much fun. It was a great time.
Totally agree with you. Also, we got to do my favorite game, which is how tall are the people you've been speaking to for 2 years? David, what about you?
So I'm going to have to echo what Jackson said. As a huge TV junkie, I have loved the amount of representation this community is having. There's still ways to go.
Agreed.
Don't get me wrong, but loving seeing all of our community represented across different forms of media.
Excellent. On the other side of this, what is our worst thing of the year, Maggie?
Yeah, I have to say the increasing threats against the chapters. I watched the PFLAG Academy online, the excellent one that you did, Jean Marie and Jamie Curtis and Jamie Henkel. It breaks my heart because our chapters are doing such incredible, amazing work for the community. Just happy that we can provide some support. Chapters, we're with you. We stand with you. Whatever we can do to help, we're here.
Thank you. David?
Yeah. I would have to agree with Maggie. Yeah. Not only the increased threats that our chapters are receiving, but just simply the increased targeted attacks upon this community that we've seen this year, but especially amongst transgender youth and transgender people of color.
Yeah. It has been really difficult to the point that you can't stop thinking about it, I think. And it's crushing some days. So thinking about something that makes us happy, Maggie, what's the tradition that you are most looking forward to?
Well, I love Christmas ornaments. I try to buy a new one every year, and I have to show you, this is my new one from the Library of Congress when I went to visit in November. So that's just a tradition I absolutely love.
I love that. I do the same thing. And it's like so fun to look at your tree and like go year by year what you got. I love that. David, what about you?
So I have a little bit of a bigger family. And so every year, one thing we all do is we draw names, and whoever's name we draw, we make a personal gift to an organization of that person's choice. So if anyone watching happens to want to take on a new tradition in your house, I know PFLAG National would be grateful
I think that is an excellent one, and I like the way you actually did your job while we're fooling around. That was really
What would you
cute.
expect from the development folks?
You really are shaming the rest of us. You've like managed to work and look for, oh, this is ridiculous. Finally, give us one resolution for next year, Maggie.
I'm late to the yoga game. I just started doing yoga only a few months ago. I'm going to try to do more of that next year because it's all about self-care. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. And so whatever you're doing to stay healthy and stay well, I support that.
Excellent. David?
Maggie and I are just really aligned. I was going to say, I am really wanting to intentionally schedule time for self-care. I know that sounds silly, but I know I can easily get away from me. And then I'm like, I need to take care of myself. So I really want to carve out time to be aware and intentional about that.
I don't think it's silly. You have to do it. Otherwise you get so busy, it doesn't happen and you become the last priority. I think that's a good one. Well, my friends, thank you for everything that you do, especially because we spend a lot of time working together. I appreciate you and I appreciate all the work you do with our corporate partners.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, here we go. Jamie Curtis.
I mean, it is hard to follow development with those outfits and the decorations.
And the coordinated answers.
Wow. Yeah. I was impressed.
Wow is absolutely right. I am impressed that you two have read out the sequins for this show. It makes me very happy.
I tried to. And I will point out, it's not a decoration, but my Christmas cactus is behind me and it is blooming, which is pretty special that it actually blooms on time.
So what was your best LGBTQ or ally thing of the year?
I think, it was a tough year and there was a lot of bad things that were happening. But I think the best parts were when you looked around at any of those moments, there were a lot of people doing good things and doing what they could in their communities and with what resources they had and how they could make an impact. So I think all of those little stories of people who think, oh, it's just a tiny thing I did, all of those are so important. And I'm glad that when we have all these tough moments, we can watch all of those good things happening.
I totally agree with you. I think seeing people step up, it's those unexpected allies that you sometimes see too. On the other side, worst thing.
Man, it was really a race to the bottom this year with bad things competing. And so I'm not going to name one. Honestly, it was a rough year and I'm moving on and I'm staying positive and I'm thinking and remembering all of the good people who did things and helped people and stepped in when there were horrible situations. And so I'm not even giving them credit.
I love that. I really love that. I think that is so far. Okay. So, while development might have been far fancier than we are, I'm going to say you're winning on that answer. That's a great one. What tradition are you most looking forward to?
So I love to bake, as you know, and I haven't had any time to do that yet, but I'm looking forward to spending time with my family and doing some baking and just enjoying a break.
And sending your friend in California pumpkin chip cookies.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll put it on the list.
Yeah. What about a resolution? And that could be your resolution. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Written by you. I think that sort of continuing off the good things, focusing on the positives in the year ahead. And one way I have already started doing that is trying to cut back on social media, which makes it much easier to keep the negative forces out. So continuing my social media trimming and, trying to focus on positives and other things that don't involve screens.
I like that doesn't involve a screen. That's all that we really have for our bottom line here. Jamie, thank you so much. And thank you for everything you and the chapter engagement team do. It really does keep our organization going and our chapters engaged. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, it's my team. Jamie and Mackenzie. I am so excited. And a little bit nervous because I know all of us. So this is where we get to do our round together. So, my friends, and maybe Mackenzie will start with you on this one. Best LGBTQ plus and ally thing of the year.
Not to copy what Jackson said, but the amount of media out this year was really, really good, and the amount of media across different platforms and different spaces. For example, this season of High School Musical, the series, which I personally think is the best TV show in history, except for maybe Chucky, had multiple queer storylines, and that's a show for kids. And then Chucky also had a ton of queer storylines, but you know my feelings on that. But definitely the amount of content that was out this year that was good was a really good part of this year.
One of our colleagues has pointed out in our private chat that Chucky is a PFLAG dad now, which is super exciting for us at PFLAG. Jamie Henkel.
Yeah, so I think that my best thing is going to surprise the both of you because it was being together in person. When we were together in July, when we were together in October, when we were together in November, it was just like even just seeing photos of people at Pride together again this year, it was so reinvigorating for me. So that is probably my best moment, that we were able to be in space together doing this work.
And that is surprising because you and I are the first ones to say it's feeling too people-y for me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I really appreciate that answer. I have to say my best thing that I could pick out, everybody was talking with the media, my really specific one was Sandman. I think it was such a great show. The haters were ridiculous and pointless. And I'm so excited that it's going to be coming back. What about on the flip side, our worst thing of the year, Mackenzie?
So I think what everyone is saying, just the climate in general, but I think something specific about that is the lack of unity in a lot of spaces and the amount of kind of infighting and the struggle to come together as a community. That there's unfortunately some scapegoating happening among our communities and among marginalized communities in general, or people pushing other people down to try to get a leg up when ultimately we're all in this together. So the lack of understanding and the lack of being able to come together has been very sad to see, even though there have been a lot of very good things as well that have gone on.
I agree. It is disturbing when you encounter it because you just want to scream, we should know better. We should know better. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, so the worst moment for me is this story that I just cannot stop thinking about from Wisconsin, where the adults in the situation had such a significant temper tantrum that like prom in this school district had to be canceled because of bomb threats. All because some parents couldn't handle that their kids that were being bullies to a non-binary student were being disciplined for being bullied. Like it just, I just hated it. And it just demonstrates how off base a lot of people are right now.
I totally agree. I have to say my least favorite thing was the fact that the fashionistas in our community have not yet banished high-waist jeans. And also the Supreme Court. Let's get on to something much happier. What traditions are you both looking forward to, Mackenzie?
I'm looking forward to going home, spending time with my family, and hopefully getting a chance to see some of my friends from when I grew up. I've reconnected with a couple people that I lost contact with for a period of time, so I'm really hopeful that I'll get to spend some good quality time at home with the people I care about.
Jamie?
So I'm actually staying in Portland this year for the holidays, and I'm quite excited about not having to travel. And my favorite tradition is brunch at my friend Paige and Lawrence's house. I make these delicious fruit cream cheese pastries that I bring with me when we are all in town together at Christmas. And I don't even have to put on anything more than my pajamas to head over. So it's really great.
That is a giant bonus. That is a massive bonus. I think mine is Christmas Eve. It has always been family, chosen family. We do a really big party that brings a bunch of people together. And I make my coquito, which is my very favorite thing to drink. Last thing, we only have about a minute left. Mackenzie and Jamie, your resolution for 2023.
My first resolution is to learn how to do lip makeup better than I currently do it, especially when I have some limited time to get ready. But my main resolution is to finish or to work on some projects that excite me both at work and outside of work.
Awesome. Henkel?
Yeah, well, I keep joking that my resolution is going to be to unsubscribe from more email lists. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, it's a real thing. I think I'm going to resolve to stop being so distracted by noise and disinformation and misinformation and lies, and like just try to be less distracted.
I think that's a good one. Mine, ironically, most people say the opposite of this. I actually am going to try to watch more TV. I've sort of stopped watching so much stuff. Everybody talks about shows and I have no idea what's going on. So I'm going to attempt to corral my attention span and actually watch some more TV next year. It's a weird resolution, but there we are. My friends, we spend every single day during the week together and on our weekends too. I absolutely adore both of you. I'm so grateful for you and the work that we get to do and how we, I think, make each other laugh all the time. So thank you, thank you, thank you both. Well, that wraps up another show and another year. Thank you for all of you who have been watching. Thanks to those people who send us emails and messages about what you think of the shows. We really appreciate that. We have a very, very big year coming up at PFLAG. It is our 50th anniversary, and we have so much exciting stuff happening. So you definitely want to keep watching us next year. Please visit us at pflag.org if you need information or if you'd like to get some support. We're going to take a week off that first week of January, but then we are going to be back with some really phenomenal shows and some really exciting news for everybody. So please make sure that you tune back in. Please, everyone, be safe out there. Be mindful. And as we always remind you at the end of every show, run fast, laugh hard, and most of all, please be kind. I'm Jean Marie Nevada. If you need more information or if you need any help, visit us at pflag.org, pflag.org/find to get to your chapter. And otherwise, we'll see you next year on Something to Talk About Live.